be
I
faster.
know some of you. My name's Gary Moore. I'm a local balloon pilot. Lived here in Havasu 17 years. Been a balloon meister. This will be my third out of the fourth year. Hard to believe we've got 3 years behind us heading into this fourth year for our balloon festival. The Lions Club and Rotary have done a really great job. It's been a really good, successful event, which we're trying to grow into being the premier event of this city if it isn't already. I'd also like to introduce Dean Baker. He's another pilot here in town. And our newest pilot, where's he at? Mr. Jim Dolan, just last week. Just passed it this past week a few days ago. So as balloon festivals grow, we get more people interested in ballooning and continue on tradition. What we're going to do this morning is we're going to break off into a few groups. What I'd like to do, guys, is get your balloons down, explain the equipment to them, inflate the balloon, have them bring it back down, shift people around, and between the 3 balloons, you should get around and get plenty of experience. How many have helped with the balloons? Put this little balloon up and see which direction we need to be laying the balloon. You'll see a lot of that out at the festival. It gives us a little bit of a wind read for the upper winds, what direction the wind's going. We need to lay our balloons with the wind. You will not win that battle trying to do it. And the number one thing we want to stress through all this is safety, safety, safety. The fan is one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment that we have. So you always want to make sure each pilot has someone situated at that fan while it is running. Don't move the fan while it is running. Then we have what we call the mouth of the balloon, where 2 people will be holding the mouth open to allow the cold air in to get the balloon in shape. We have a crown line on top of the balloon, stretches out in front of the balloon to help the balloon stand up as we heat the balloon. All these things will be explained with the other pilots, and we'll take it as we go. Like I say, some of you have been around the balloons before. I have seen a balloon lift the back end of a 15-passenger van before. I have physically seen that happen. It can happen. And so that's why we require tie-offs. If a wind gust came up and they weren't tied off, there'd be no stopping that balloon from dragging through everything in its path. The other thing to remember with your pilot, if something does happen, if he has an incident where someone gets hurt or gets in the power line's number one. Stay away from the balloon until the power company is on site. It will kick off the power for a while, and if you try to pull that balloon off, that power will re-energize because they'll think it's just a glitch in the system, and it may energize 2 or 3 times. All right, let's just kind of split off into a few groups. A few of you go over with Jim over here, a few over here with Dean. We'll kind of spread it out. All right, so let's go ahead and spread out and start getting the balloons down and setting them up. Watch all the way that they set up differently. Ours are already put together. Jim, he's still learning, so he hasn't got his put together already. But so let's see how it goes. Okay. One thing just to kind of start with, you guys will be finding the different balloon pilots and how they kind of do things. I mean, there's general things going the way out and the same stuff. The biggest thing is just kind of get what you can get out of it a bit differently, but commonly they're all the same. So just kind of follow the pilot. Kind of just wait for his call on things. And like I said, there's a lot of basic stuff. Stay off the balloon, don't pull it, watch the fan. A lot of stuff Gary covered, so we'll try to cover that today because we do have a lot of people. Okay, everyone comes through here with the balloon here. We got 2 tanks in the front. There's the front and the back. So we set up that way. We got 2 tanks in the front, the weights in the front. So if you're, when we're laying it down, we're going to lay this front part down, the weights in the front. If you're also landing, the weights in the front. So yeah, kind of give you a general idea. Maybe you had a keg in there. That's what this one is. As you can see, we all 3 have the same type of balloons. They're all camera, and so they're all kind of set up that way. But like I said, at the festival, you'll see a lot of different balloons over the last 30 years, different styles. So, everyone's got one. More of this now. kind of a, those of you that are familiar with the big boys outside the rim, there's an emblem on top, we've got that triangle kind of in the middle. Open up. It's kind of like a little bit around staying in the blue. If you try and stir here, it might start blowing up a little bit. Where the air comes in, we're going to overdo it.
Actually, in the bag of Suburban, in the cooler, on the top, there's water inside the cooler. It's filled with vodka. Sweet.
No, that was my sister taking on my child.
Right.
Friends in high places.
Right? Okay, so I know it's your first time in a balloon.
Yep.
So, just a real quick briefing on what you can feel free to hold on to the top of the tank like that. You can hold on to the uprights, hold on to these handles. What you don't need to be doing is the black lines here, any of my control lines. Those are for me.
Okay.
When we come in for a landing, we'll practice this real quick. I think we'll have you stand sideways here.
Okay.
And you can either wrap an arm around the balloon like that and hold on to the tank or something like that. Just hold on to two things at once. And make sure you bend your knees when you come in. It's kind of like skiing. And then that's good for now. When we get there, I'll tell you when to get into position and see if there's any medical issues I should know about right now. Bad
Nope.
back or anything like that.
I'm good.
Okay. Get Phil in here. Phil, if I could get you to check my traffic.
I see one balloon over there,
Okay.
but I don't know where the other one
Oh,
is.
yeah. That one.
So as we leave, I would like you to practice leaving very, very low.
Okay.
No, that was my sister taking on my child.
Alright. Right? Okay, so I know it's your first time in a balloon.
Yep.
So, just a real quick briefing on what you can hold on to in flight. You can feel free to hold on to the top of the tanks like that. You can hold on to the uprights, hold on to these handles. What you don't need to be doing is any of the black lines here, any of my control lines. Those are for me. Okay. When we come in for a landing, we'll practice this real quick. I think we'll have you stand sideways here.
Okay.
And you can either wrap an arm around the balloon like that and hold on to it once. And make sure you bend your knees when you come in. It's kind of like skiing. And then that's good for now. When we get there, I'll tell you when to get into position. And okay. Let's see here. Any medical issues I should know about right now? Bad
Nope.
back or anything like that?
I'm good.
Okay. Get Phil in here. Phil, if I could get you to check my traffic.
I see one balloon over there,
Okay.
but I don't know where the other one
Oh,
is.
yeah. That one.
So as we leave, I would like you to practice leaving very, very low.
Okay.
So rather than going out hot, we got a
Yeah.
lot of running in. What I'd like to do is just creep out as shallow as you feel comfortable.
Okay. Sounds good. Alright.
Do it, baby. What? No, no, have friends like this before.
Thank you guys, appreciate the help. That was impressive. Very nice. even in calm motion, they'll just shoot out, which in a rally situation is particularly dangerous because you don't really know who's coming over the top of you.
Right. I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm guilty of that, particularly with the tie off.
It's easy to do.
And, you know, with just me in the basket, I'm light,
Right.
you know. And then with the tie off, it gives you a sense of on the basket. So I get it, you know, going. And I'll think, okay, I'm ready. And then I actually let the tie off go, and it's like somebody took the whole person out.
Right.
Over the breeze, and I'm like watching out for the false lift, and suddenly I'm, you know, 400 feet a minute.
Exactly.
Right.
I'd buy that. Okay, what's your flight plan today?
Alright, well, unfortunately, the reservoir so...
05 November, turn right heading 060.
I'll probably get up into that, that south layer still there a little bit. We've got lots of east, it seems like. And I'm going to try and shoot for south of Foreign Trade Zone, somewhere in that area.
And do we think, how high do you think you have to get to go north?
Well, from the piebald, I you know, slowed down, it seemed like. Maybe 1,500, 2,000 feet, somewhere in there. According to the rocks, I need to get up around 2,000 or more.
So why don't you go ahead and call the airport, and then I'm going to actually call them back when you're done and have a chat with them real quick. And then I'm debating about, since that upper level wind is so calm, I'm debating about today climbing up there and doing a terminal.
Okay.
What would you
good.
think about that? Yeah, let's go chat with them and then we'll go from there.
Springs Tower, this is Hot Air Balloon, November 74008.
74008.
Copy that, thank you.
He's landing. Okay. Springs Tower, Hot Air 74008. Can we get an example of a light signal today for some?
008, sure. Let's give me a minute.
Copy that. Thanks so much. Very rarely do students have an opportunity to actually see a light signal. So in theory, what's happening is you see it?
I do, yep.
And so basically it's him holding a light gun and he's shining it right at us.
Right.
Springs Tower 74008 saw a white light, thank you. So then when they flash white light, green light, or red light, it means something different.
Sure.
In the grand scheme of things, the only thing you're going to see in a balloon is, again, of course, you're going to be but
That's in the top caution.
They
There's
could.
another 100%.
they could end up giving you a red light, which would basically say, just get out of here. What is more likely is that they'll give you a flashing green, red, green, red, green, red, and that basically just means use caution. Okay, so here's what I propose. We're currently at 60. We did just get just a little bit of a right turn, but I'm looking up here at Brook, and he's going back north. So let's do this. Let's set up a climb, and let's do, unless something changes, let's do 400 feet a minute up to 9,000. Other than smoke, today's a nice day. You're in Class Charlie airspace. What are the entry requirements?
Communicating with the tower.
Okay.
I don't think that's enough for me to get out to the north here, so I'm going to probably be on the south. Down south end. Roger, you said on the south.
Normally you would have to have a transponder.
Airport.
Okay.
Roger.
So we have the waiver, yearly written waiver. And then you have all the visibility requirements.
South layer was thin, wasn't it? So during your check ride, it is totally acceptable to turn your radio off. Right? And I would recommend it.
Sure.
And then, you know, I think managing the crew via the radio is a valid part of the check ride. It's not in the test standard, so there's no need to demonstrate it. Especially if we go with the assumption you're going to have some of your friends like Phil or Travis or whomever, I would just turn it off.
Right.
And then if you feel like the flight's going really well and you're coming in for a landing, turn it on call. If not, fuck it. Just land and... you know, just to minimize the number of distractions. No envelope? So the chrono is flashing to say that we turned it on at some point, but it's pretty close, 229 and 228. I think we call that within a margin of error. So in part 61, it says that we're supposed to climb to an altitude, have a controlled ascent. Do you remember what that altitude is? I don't either. I think it's 2,000 feet. Today we're going to go well beyond that. So let's keep climbing all the way up to 9. motivation to go to 9 is there's two. One is because I think this north will actually gradually turn more towards the east, and so it'll just get us out in the open spots. But also, 9,000, I think is a nice round number, which I know exceeds the requirement. And 3,000 feet is more than enough to experience a terminal. Let's keep it at 400.
One of the reasons why I kept slowing down was
Okay. So that's the kind of thing, it's a good decision, but say it out loud. You know, hey, I'm going to slow down a little bit, watch this temperature, see if it stabilizes. As opposed to, I wasn't paying attention.
right.
Because you're paying attention to something extra, and verbalizing that goes a long way.
Right. That makes sense.
I expect to see a 300 up here. I mean, it's only 3 knots, but still. So as a rule of thumb, you can see Memorial Park, which I realize it's difficult to see, but if you see Memorial Park, the Hancock on the other side of Memorial Park is 5 miles from the airport. And so if you're in this situation, you say, man, what is our visibility? Well, I can see the park, I can see the freeway, that's 6 miles, I can see that. So I got a solid 6, maybe 10, depending on So what do you think about this display?
I like it.
It's really crisp, isn't it?
Yes, that's for sure.
There are some settings, but I think the settings primarily change like units or where you get audible alarms. I don't think there's any layout settings, I think. Because I did this when I was in Pagosa. I flew both instruments, I compared them. Right. I haven't heard of anybody that has the Balloon 4s yet.
Not in the U.S.
That'll be the next experiment, right? Okay, look at that.
And that's heading, right?
Correct. Yeah, so we're currently headed north-northeast at 5 minutes. One of the things I talked to Dave about is I'd love it if those two numbers were swapped visually.
Right.
You know, to say 010 at 5 is much more common than 5 at, you know, so. What do you think of the rate of this?
Might take out
step on it in normal conditions. If you're venting, it'll still be around your feet.
Heading to 0605.
So in that case, did you start decreasing the ascent rate with the thought of leveling out, or did it just sort of, did you fall asleep at the wheel? Yeah, either way is no big deal. The challenge in this case, and a good rule of thumb, is your rate of ascent. When you stop that rate of ascent and let it start to just sort of mellow out, is that number of feet from the goal. And so at this point, we're probably going to go past it a little bit, but not by much. Because you're seeing, I mean, now we got 50 feet, but 100 feet. Now we got 50 feet and 90 feet. So I think you're going to go pretty darn close to it.
This 5 uniform contact departure. Yes. You got 5.
We've got a nice track at 10 knots at 30 degrees. I love that direction. It smells smoky. Okay, so from a standards standpoint, if you said, okay, I'm done, you hit within 100 feet, and you were plus or minus 100 feet of the 400 almost the whole time. And so that would be totally fine. Look at that! Couldn't have planned that one better, could you? Okay, so let's talk about a terminal velocity descent. It's a horrible name. The premise of a terminal in terms of training is to learn two things. One is to kind of simulate the experience of your burner going out. Whether you lost a pilot in a wind shear, whether you were running, it does, yeah. I just taste it. The other scenario that is, I'll say, likely, although it never happens, to create a pilot light outage is that you shut it down because you've got a fuel leak. You know, you've got a fuel leak, and so maybe you bleed everything out and then you deal with it. And so it's to simulate that concept. And the idea there is, okay, we're simulating that, but the intention of doing a terminal is to feel what the balloon does if it takes you a really long time to recover. Because you can go down, as we know, 400, 500, 600 feet a minute and almost never notice it, which is weird in itself, right? But once you get up, I've done a terminal in this balloon, and I think it starts to react around 800. And so when I say react, I would anticipate a couple of different things.
Turn right heading towards
the first thing I would anticipate is that we'll spin. Now, not super fast, but you'll just get a sort of a steady rotation, which can be very disorienting, especially if you're down here fucking around in the corner and then you look, wait a minute, what? That can be very disorienting if you're just sort of messing with it. The second thing that will happen is, as the balloon gets cold, and we've been falling for a while, you'll start to see some dishing and the throat will close up. Now, this balloon, this throat is massive. It's not ever going to close. But it is important to note that when we let the balloon get cold, anytime we go through a shear, you're going to get a fairly significant dishing because you don't have pressure in the balloon to keep it warm. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we've got the spinning, we've got sort of the... And then you combine those two things, and you'll end up with sort of a pendulum, sort of a swing shake kind of a maneuver. What would you think about climbing up to 10? And then what I was thinking about timing and positioning is that if we climb up to 10 and we're still headed this direction, once we get sort of off the base, then we can drop down, say, over the golf course, that open space, the neighborhood, and then I think we'll sort of get a southeast, and that might take us to the Space Village field, could take us to the missing house, could be, you know, even in that little triangle field. Could be. The other thing I'm watching is that I want to make sure that we get an hour, which will be easy. We went hot at 7:16, so let's hope. By the way, today as the terminal velocity, I had no intentions of actually shutting off the rotors. We just won't. We'll pay attention to make sure that the pilot stays lit. I mean, I would say 90% confidence.
Started way up north.
Okay.
And this is where I was climbing through, and about around 10,000 is where I was going from 0.5-ish pretty quickly.
Right.
And as I went through that shear, it blew it out.
Okay.
And I actually didn't notice it the first time until I went.
Right. That's usually when you notice it.
Immediately think pilot is out.
Okay.
And so the first thing I did was look around and was like, well, what's...
Do we have a leak somewhere?
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, right. No problem. 7 back down to 1-ish. Blew out again.
Okay.
But that's I immediately kicked it back on.
Yeah, and that's why I'll say speed, although, you know, it can take seconds and it doesn't matter. Speed relighting is valuable because by the time you realize it's out, you want it to burn.
Right.
And
Right.
maybe you really wanted to burn, maybe you didn't. Either way, you're not where you wanted to be right then. I'm looking at these two guys here, and they are almost stopped. Like, I can't see the colors, unfortunately, but I think this is Troy, the orange one in the middle, maybe. And he's been in that square for a long time. So I think we're overall going to have a pretty calm experience once we get down. One of the things that we might want to take, I'll say, concern about is I don't want to go down and then head back into the base and have to burn all that fuel to get back up into this layer, you know. Okay. How long is this smoke gonna last, Scott?
They said 2 days ago, they said it was going to be clear by this morning. Yesterday, they said it'd be around for another couple days. So. It's not good.
Mostly just from our experience. Visibility's bad. I don't like the air quality, but it's really more about how really that means that those fires are still burning and they're just crazy out of control. I have a copy of the Class C permission letter. Let me get it to you. I mean, chances are, our take a word for it. Sure. They know harm is. Oh yeah, I have that right here. Feet doesn't really feel that high to me.
Ground's only 4,000 feet below. If we were 10,000 feet above the ground, it was too
Yes.
high.
Yes. I think the smoke somehow affects it. It's not as visible that how high we
Right.
are, you know. Three.
Oh, we're right on the line.
So that says it's getting worse. Let's see, just for upstairs, let's go ahead and bump that up so we actually see 10,000. And that way we can say that we really did it, right? We can read it at all. I wonder if flash would
Hit that button and then on.
right. Because used to be that there was a
on
auto.
auto.
Okay, so when do you suppose we should start our descent? You said 270. So in theory, if we drop down, we're going to get out this direction. Only 6 knots. Hard to know what we're going to get on the way down. So my feeling is if we drop down now, aggressively, then that's not quite 270, which we think is alternatively, we still got 9. We could go up, line up on that intersection there, whatever that is. We have to be hot, but I think that's easy. Landed in those fields off of whatever the neighborhood road is. Okay, so we're pretty level at 10,000 feet. So what I suggest we do is we stop burning. Actually, let me call you. Springs Tower, hot air 74008. Descend between parallel.
Hot air 008, got that.
That way they're not surprised.
Okay, so 510, ready for takeoff, fully short, 35 left.
35 left, perfect. Okay, so we
Got
want
that 510, 3 power,
to, at this
runway
point, what I suggest we do is nothing, and let's just pay close attention to the rates of descent. You will find that you have a tendency to burn and recover probably earlier than you really need to. This balloon, this tank's empty. These 3 are roughly full, right? I know I should put some fuel on this. So 600 feet a minute, that comes fast. And 600 feet a minute feels like, I can feel it in my ears, but the balloon is good. Solid. Now we're at 630. And here's the spin. You comfortable? Okay. I don't anticipate it being very effective, but 700 feet a minute. Ground's becoming more in clear view. Mental note, the pilot light is still lit. Now you can start to feel us coming through a shear. Balloon is continuing to rotate. Now you feel that cool air all of a sudden. That's actually because the balloon is now leaking cooler air, and so it's not going to be as warm. Now you can start to keep wishing in the scoop and a little bit up the throat there. Okay.